Commander Olivia Martinez stood on the bridge of the Galactic Federation survey vessel, Horizon Seeker, her eyes fixed on the swirling blue-green planet displayed on the main screen. The ship's artificial gravity hummed beneath her feet as she reviewed the unexpected orders that had arrived just hours ago. Senior Science Officer Nelson, can you verify these readings again? Martinez asked, her voice calm despite the growing excitement among her crew. Dr. Catherine Nelson nodded, her fingers moving quickly across her console. The data streams confirmed what they had already discovered 3 times. Confirmed, Commander. The planet registers as a Class 15 Deathworld, the highest classification we've ever encountered. The bridge fell silent. Class 15 was not just rare, it was theoretically the upper limit of the Federation's habitability scale. No sentient species had ever evolved on anything above a Class 8 world. Atmospheric composition shows multiple toxic gases, Nelson continued. Gravity is 1.3 times Federation. Standard. Weather systems include extreme storm formations capable of leveling structures. Tectonic activity is substantial. Biodiversity scans show over 3 million species, with an estimated 30% classified as predatory. Lieutenant Paul Jackson spoke, up from the sensor station. Commander, there's something else. I'm detecting artificial structures on the surface. Extensive ones. Martinez turned sharply. That's impossible. Nothing can evolve sentience on a Class A-15. It's not just settlements, Jackson said, adjusting the scan parameters. I'm seeing cities, transportation networks, energy production facilities. This is a developed civilization. Martinez moved to his station, studying the readings herself. How advanced? Early space age, Jackson replied. They have orbital satellites, space stations, and have made several manned journeys to their moon. Their energy technology appears to be a mix of fossil fuels, nuclear, and renewables. Can we establish communication? Martinez asked. Communications Officer Lisa Reyes nodded. Their broadcast communications are unencrypted. We can access their information networks easily. They call their planet Earth. And what do they call themselves? Martinez asked. Humans, Reyes replied. The next 12 hours were a flurry of activity as the Horizon Seeker maintained its position just beyond the range of Earth's detection capabilities. The crew gathered and analyzed as much information as they could from the planet's broadcasts and digital networks. In her private quarters, Martinez reviewed the preliminary report with growing amazement. Humans not only survived on this death world, but seemed completely unaware of how extraordinary their home was by galactic standards. A soft chime announced Dr. Nelson's arrival. The xenobiologist entered carrying a data tablet, her expression a mixture of professional excitement and disbelief. You've made some conclusions? Martinez asked. Nelson sat down, placing her tablet on the small table between them. These humans are remarkable. Based on their medical data, they possess physiological capabilities that should be impossible. Explain, Martinez said. Their bone density is substantially higher than most Federation species. Their muscle tissue can repair itself after significant damage. They can survive blood loss that would kill most sentient beings. But what's most extraordinary is their ability to adapt to different environments on their own world. Nelson brought up images of humans living in various locations on Earth. These ones live in regions with temperatures below freezing for much of their year. These groups thrive in deserts with minimal water. Others live in tropical regions with deadly pathogens and predators. Some even build settlements on the sides of active volcanoes. How is this possible? Martinez asked. I have a theory, Nelson said. Their evolutionary path was forged in constant danger. While most sentient species evolve in stable, relatively safe environments, humans developed under continuous threat. They're not just adapted to their death world, they're the product of it. Martinez considered this information. The implications were significant for the entire Federation. A species that evolved on a Class 15 world would have capabilities and perspectives utterly different from any known civilization. We need to make contact, Martinez decided. Prepare a first contact protocol. I want a communication link established by the next planetary rotation. The following day, The Horizon Seeker moved into a visible orbit around Earth. As expected, the appearance of an alien vessel caused considerable excitement among the humans. Their military forces went on alert, but made no aggressive moves. Using the information gathered from Earth's networks, the Federation ship broadcast a greeting in the humans' most widespread languages. The response came quickly from something called the United Nations Security Council. On the main screen of the bridge, a human with dark skin and gray hair appeared. "I am Secretary General Adrian Brooks of the United Nations. On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth." Martinez stepped forward. "I am Commander Olivia Martinez of the Galactic Federation survey vessel Horizon Seeker. We come in peace and with great interest in your world and species." The human showed remarkable composure for a first contact situation. "We are pleased to hear that, Commander. This is a historic moment for our people." "And for ours," Martinez replied. "Secretary General, we would like to send a delegation to your planet to establish formal diplomatic relations. Would that be acceptable?" "It would be our honor to host your representatives," Brooks answered. "We can prepare facilities in Geneva, Switzerland for this purpose." After the communication ended, Martinez turned to her senior staff. "Begin preparations for a diplomatic mission. Full environmental protection suits will be mandatory. No exceptions." "Commander," Jackson said hesitantly, "the humans might perceive the suits as offensive." "Better offended than dead, Lieutenant," Martinez replied. "That planet down there should be uninhabitable by Federation standards. Until we understand exactly how humans survive there, we take no chances." As the Horizon Seeker continued its orbit, the crew watched the Deathworld with a mixture of fear and fascination. Storms raged across its oceans. Volcanoes erupted along tectonic boundaries. Countless species competed in brutal ecosystems. And through it all, humans went about their daily lives, utterly unaware that they were possibly the toughest sentient species in the known galaxy. Martinez stared at the beautiful blue planet. "Send a priority message to Federation Command," she told Reyes. "Inform them we've made first contact with a Class 15 indigenous species, and tell them—" She paused, searching for the right words. "Tell them everything is about to change." Ambassador William Carter felt sweat beading inside his environmental suit as the Federation shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere. His team consisted of 5 specialists, all veterans of first contact missions, but none had ever set foot on anything above a Class 9 world. Earth at Class 15 was in an entirely different category. "Environmental systems at maximum filtration," announced the pilot. "Outside temperature is 22 degrees Celsius. Local gravity confirmed at 1.3 times Federation standard. Atmospheric pressure is higher than comfortable for most of us." Carter nodded, watching the landscape below. They were approaching a region humans called Switzerland, specifically a city named Geneva. The landing zone was a wide, flat area, surrounded by strange rectangular structures and smaller moving objects that must be human vehicles. "Remember," Carter addressed his team, "every aspect of this planet is potentially dangerous. The microbes, the plants, the animals, even the water. Stay in your suits at all times." Dr. Catherine Nelson, who had transferred from the Horizon Seeker to join the diplomatic mission, was monitoring her equipment. "The air alone contains multiple compounds our systems classify as harmful. How these humans breathe it willingly is remarkable." The shuttle landed with a gentle bump. Outside, a group of humans waited behind a temporary barrier. Carter took a deep breath inside his helmet. "Let's make history," he said, and the airlock opened. The first thing that struck Carter was the brightness. Earth's sun was intense, reflecting off surfaces and creating sharp shadows. The second thing was the noise, a constant background of sounds from machines, distant conversations, and something called birds flying overhead. A human stepped forward from the greeting party. He wore a dark blue suit with no environmental protection whatsoever, not even a simple breathing filter. "Ambassador Carter, welcome to Earth. I am Daniel Wilson, Secretary of State for the United States, representing the United Nations Welcome Committee." Carter gave the practiced Federation greeting gesture. "Thank you for your welcome. It is an honor to be the first Federation delegation to your world. Wilson smiled, looking curiously at their protective suits. We've prepared comfortable facilities for your stay. If there's anything specific you need regarding environmental controls or dietary requirements, please let us know. As they walked toward a nearby building, Carter noticed his team's nervous movements. Despite all their training, being on a Class 15 world was deeply uncomfortable. Every instinct told them they shouldn't be here. What was most striking was watching the humans move about so casually. A small group of younger humans stood nearby, pointing and taking pictures with handheld devices. None showed any concern about the toxic atmosphere they breathed, or the dangerous pathogens that must surround them. Inside the building, they were led to a conference room. Large transparent panels, windows, Carter remembered from the briefing materials, allowed natural light to enter. Through them he could see more humans walking outside. Some had smaller humans with them. Children, his mind supplied. These offspring were playing in an open area, touching the ground directly with minimal protective covering. Is something wrong, Ambassador? Wilson asked, noticing Carter's distraction. Those young ones outside, Carter said. They're interacting directly with the environment. Wilson looked confused. The children at the playground? Yes, it's a nice day for them to be outside. Dr. Nelson stepped closer to the window. You allow your offspring to expose themselves to the open air, to touch surfaces containing millions of microorganisms? Now several human officials exchanged puzzled glances. Of course, a female human named Rebecca Brown answered. She was introduced as a scientific advisor. Children need fresh air and exercise for proper development. Fresh air, Nelson repeated slowly, as if the concept was difficult to grasp. The meeting proceeded with formal introductions and preliminary discussions of diplomatic relations. Carter struggled to focus. Not only was he intensely aware of the danger surrounding them, but he was increasingly distracted by the humans' casual attitude toward their lethal environment. During a brief recess, Dr. Nelson approached Carter privately. Ambassador, I've been analyzing the atmospheric samples. What they're breathing would be immediately toxic to most Federation species, yet they do it without any filtration. What about the water? Carter asked. Even more concerning, it contains countless microorganisms, mineral compounds, and suspended particles. They not only touch it, they ingest it. Their conversation was interrupted when Secretary Wilson returned with refreshments for the human delegation. The Federation visitors watched in amazement as the humans consumed liquids and solid materials in the open air, introducing foreign substances directly into their bodies. Would you like anything? Wilson offered. Our scientists prepared some nutrient solutions that should be compatible with your biology. Thank you, but we will consume our own supplies inside our shuttles, Carter replied diplomatically. The afternoon continued with presentations about human society and culture. Carter's team learned that humans routinely expose themselves to extreme temperatures for recreation. They deliberately consumed plants and animals containing compounds that would be considered toxic on Federation worlds. Most shocking, some humans regularly swam in large bodies of water filled with unknown organisms. As the day ended and the Federation team returned to their shuttle for safety, Carter reviewed his notes with growing amazement. They don't just survive here, he told his team. They thrive. They've built an entire civilization without even realizing they're doing it in conditions that should be impossible. Dr. Nelson nodded. Their bodies must be extraordinary. The resilience required to withstand this environment daily. I need to research their medical data more thoroughly. That night, as the rest of the team slept in the protected environment of the shuttle, Carter stayed awake reviewing human historical documents. He read accounts of humans surviving injuries that would kill any Federation citizen instantly, stories of enduring extreme weather, traveling through deserts without water for days, recovering from diseases that would devastate entire Federation worlds. Looking out the viewport at the twinkling lights of Geneva, Carter felt a chill that had nothing to do with temperature. The Federation had encountered hundreds of species across the galaxy, but never anything like humans. These beings had evolved on a world that should have killed them, and instead of merely surviving, they had built cities, created art, and reached for the stars. If humans ever realized how exceptional they were by galactic standards, how would that change them? And more importantly, how would it change the Federation? Carter made a decision. Tomorrow, he would accept the humans' invitation to experience their culture directly. Despite the risks, he needed to understand these remarkable beings better. The future of interspecies relations might depend on it. News traveled fast across the Galactic Federation. Within weeks, every member world knew about the humans and their Class 15 Deathworld called Earth. Federation scientists scrambled to understand how any species could evolve sentience in such conditions. Military officials worried about the implications of encountering beings with such extraordinary physical capabilities. On the Federation capital world of Harmonium, the High Council gathered for an emergency session. Representatives from 200 worlds sat in the circular chamber, their varied physiologies accommodated by specialized environmental units. High Counselor Zara, a luminescent being from a low-gravity water world, addressed the assembly. The discovery of humans changes our understanding of evolutionary potential. If reports are accurate, they possess physical and mental traits previously thought impossible. Military Commander Vorex, an arthropoid from a desert planet, displayed images of human athletic competitions. These are not warriors or specially trained individuals. These are average humans engaging in recreational activities. Note the physical impacts they willingly endure, the heights they jump from, the weights they lift. Murmurs spread through the chamber as the representatives watched humans playing something called football, deliberately colliding with each other at speeds that would seriously injure most Federation species. "What are their intentions?" asked a representative from the Proxima system. Ambassador Carter, who had just returned from Earth, stepped forward. "Based on all interactions, humans appear peaceful and eager for cultural exchange. They are curious about the wider galaxy and have proposed a diplomatic mission to visit a Federation world." "Allow these creatures to visit our worlds?" Vorex chittered in alarm. "Their bodies alone could be weapons." "They are not aggressive by nature," Carter countered. "Yes, they are physically resilient in ways we find difficult to comprehend, but they've built a civilization with complex art, music, and ethical systems. They value peace and cooperation." After much debate, the Council approved a limited exchange program. 2 human representatives would visit Serenity, a Class 2 paradise world with minimal environmental hazards. Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez and diplomat Andrew Phillips were chosen as Earth's first visitors to the Federation. Both had extensive experience in international relations and had undergone weeks of preparation for the cultural differences they would encounter. Their Federation transport ship entered orbit around Serenity. From space, the planet appeared as a swirl of pastel colors, its atmosphere clear and its oceans pristine. "It's beautiful," Phillips said, looking through the viewport. The Federation escort, a tall, slender being named Ilara, nodded. "Serenity is considered one of our most pleasant worlds. The gravity is approximately 0.7 of your Earth standard, and the atmosphere contains no toxic compounds." Rodriguez checked the small device on her wrist. "Our gravity acclimation training should help, but we might still seem a bit bouncy." Ilara tilted her head. "Yes, we've prepared for that. Your living quarters have been reinforced, and we've arranged for special exercise facilities where you can safely move about without damaging structures." The humans exchanged glances. They had been warned that their natural strength would be enhanced in the lower gravity, but hearing it stated so directly was sobering. The shuttle landed at a welcome center built specifically for the human visit. As they stepped out, both humans immediately felt the difference. Each step seemed to carry them too far, and they had to consciously restrain their movements. "This is strange," Phillips whispered to Rodriguez. "I feel like I could jump over a building." "Remember the training," she replied. "Gentle movements. No sudden exertions." A delegation of Federation officials waited to greet them. The humans noticed the subtle caution in their posture, the careful distance they maintained. "Welcome to Serenity," said the planetary governor, a blue-skinned humanoid named Terran. "We are honored to host the first humans to visit a Federation World, the honor is ours, Phillips replied. We come in friendship and with great appreciation for this opportunity. As they toured the Welcome Center, Phillips and Rodriguez were struck by how fragile everything seemed. The buildings had thin walls, the furniture was lightweight, and even the walkways seemed delicate beneath their feet. Everything here is designed for efficiency, Ilara explained. With minimal environmental threats, structures need only basic durability. No hurricane reinforcement? Rodriguez asked. No earthquake protection? Ilara blinked her large eyes. Such events don't occur here. Serenity was specifically selected for its geological and atmospheric stability. The humans were shown to their quarters, specially designed with reinforced furniture and thicker walls. Philip sat carefully on the bed, still adjusting to the sensation of weighing less. It's beautiful here, he told Rodriguez. But it feels, I don't know. Unnervingly safe, she finished his thought. I keep looking for emergency exits and shelter locations out of habit. Their adjustment to serenity was proceeding smoothly until their third day, when an unexpected event changed everything. During a formal reception with Federation scientists, the ground trembled slightly. For the humans, it was barely noticeable, no more than a passing truck might cause on Earth. The Federation citizens, however, reacted with alarm. Several dropped to the floor, while others froze in confusion. Warning systems activated, and automatic protective barriers began to deploy. What's happening? Phillips asked a nearby scientist. Seismic activity, the scientist gasped. This never happens on Serenity. Rodriguez checked her environmental monitor. It's just a minor tremor, maybe 2.5 on our scale. Nothing dangerous. When the building's safety system malfunctioned, leaving a group of Federation officials trapped behind a partially deployed barrier, the humans acted instinctively. Rodriguez braced herself against the barrier and pushed, using her earthborn strength in the lower gravity to force the mechanism back. Phillips organized the shaken Federation citizens, calmly directing them to a gathering point while Rodriguez helped free those who were trapped. Within minutes, the situation was under control. The tremor passed without causing any significant damage, but the humans' response had been noticed by everyone. Later that evening, Governor Taryn requested a private meeting with the Earth representatives. Your actions today were remarkable, he said. You showed no fear during an event our people found terrifying, and you physically overcame obstacles that would challenge our strongest citizens. Philip shrugged. It was a very minor earthquake by our standards. On Earth, we wouldn't even pause our conversations for something like that. And that, Taryn said, is precisely what makes your species so fascinating and, frankly, somewhat concerning to the Federation. What we perceive as a crisis, you see as an inconvenience. The physical resilience you demonstrated today has profound implications. Rodriguez leaned forward. Governor, I hope our actions didn't cause alarm. We only wanted to help. No alarm, Taryn assured her, but considerable interest. I've received 16 requests from military officials to interview you both about crisis response, and every science institute on the planet wants to study your physiological adaptations. The humans exchanged glances. They had come as diplomats but suddenly found themselves viewed as something between scientific marvels and potential weapons. As news of the incident spread across the Federation, the perception of humans began to shift. They weren't just curiosities from a deadly world. They were beings who might thrive in situations where other species faltered. The implications of this realization would soon reach far beyond a simple diplomatic exchange. 6 months after first contact, relations between Earth and the Galactic Federation had developed rapidly. A limited exchange program allowed Federation scientists and diplomats to visit Earth, while selected humans traveled to various Federation worlds. Every visitor to Earth required extensive preparation and environmental protection suits, while humans visiting Federation worlds received training on controlling their movements in lower gravity environments. Dr. Catherine Nelson led the Federation scientific outpost established in northern Earth, in a region humans called Norway. 20 researchers from various Federation worlds worked there. studying human adaptation to extreme environments. The location was chosen specifically to observe human reactions to cold temperatures that most Federation species found lethal. Temperature dropping again, announced Dr. Vril, a reptilian xenobiologist checking the external sensors. -15 Celsius and continuing to decrease. Nelson nodded, watching the monitoring screens that showed the surrounding landscape. White frozen, water, snow, she reminded herself, covered everything. The Federation outpost was a self-contained environment with multiple backup systems, all designed to protect its occupants from Earth's deadly conditions. Weather satellites detect a major storm system approaching, said Technician Prahl, looking concerned. Local authorities have issued something called a blizzard warning. Nelson had studied Earth weather patterns extensively. A blizzard combines extreme cold with high winds and heavy snowfall. Visibility drops to nearly zero. The outpost should withstand it, but will prepare the emergency evacuation shuttle just in case. As the storm intensified over the next few hours, the Federation team monitored its progress with growing concern. Winds howled around their facility, and snow piled against the walls. Temperature readings continued to drop. These conditions exceed our safety parameters, Dr. Vril said nervously. Even with our environmental suits, direct exposure would be fatal within minutes for most of us. Nelson was about to order preparation for evacuation when the outpost's alert system chimed. "Someone is approaching the main airlock," Technician Prahl announced in disbelief. On the security monitor, they saw a human figure trudging through the deep snow. The person wore multiple layers of clothing, but no environmental suit or breathing apparatus. Despite the howling wind and near-zero visibility, the human moved forward steadily. When the airlock cycled open, a tall, bearded human male entered, stomping snow from his boots. He pulled down the covering from his face, revealing reddened cheeks and a friendly smile. "Afternoon, folks," he said cheerfully. "I'm Eric Hansen. My cabin is about 2 kilometers north of here. Saw your lights and thought I'd check if everything's all right. What with the storm hitting so suddenly?" The Federation team stared in shocked silence. Dr. Nelson finally found her voice. "You walked here? In these conditions?" Hansen shrugged. "It's not too bad yet. Bit chilly, but the real cold won't hit until tonight." "Not too bad?" Dr. Vril repeated faintly. "Your exposed skin is showing temperature-induced color changes." Hansen rubbed his cheeks. "Oh, that's just windburn. It'll fade in an hour or so. Nothing to worry about." Nelson invited Hansen to sit while she explained that the Federation team considered the current conditions life-threatening. The human listened with growing amusement. "This is just a normal winter storm," he explained. "We get dozens every year. That's why I built my cabin up here. Best skiing in Norway when the weather clears." Before Nelson could respond, Technician Prahl interrupted with alarm. "The storm has damaged our communications array and affected the evacuation shuttle systems. We can't safely leave until repairs are completed, but those require external access." Hansen looked at their worried faces and made a simple offer. "Why not come to my cabin until the storm passes? It's cozy, got plenty of supplies, and the generator keeps everything running even in the worst weather." The Federation team was stunned by the suggestion. "You have a recreational dwelling in this environment?" Nelson asked. "Built intentionally in a location that regularly experiences these conditions?" "Been in the family for 3 generations," Hansen said proudly. "Nothing like waking up to fresh powder on a winter morning, having some hot coffee, then hitting the slopes." With their evacuation options compromised, Nelson made the difficult decision to accept Hansen's offer. The Federation team donned their environmental suits while Hansen waited patiently, occasionally checking his simple wrist chronometer. "It's really not that cold," he assured them as they prepared for the journey. "Just stay close together and follow my tracks." The short trek to Hansen's cabin was harrowing for the Federation visitors. Even in their advanced environmental suits, they felt the bite of the cold and struggled against the wind. Hansen walked ahead calmly, occasionally turning to encourage them. The human's cabin turned out to be a substantial wooden structure, nestled among snow-covered trees. Inside, a fire burned in a stone hearth, radiating heat throughout the main room. Wooden beams crossed the ceiling, and large windows, now covered with frost, lined one wall. "Make yourselves comfortable," Hansen said, removing his outer layers. "I'll put on some coffee and heat up some stew." As the Federation team cautiously removed their helmets, testing the interior air with their sensors, Hansen moved about his kitchen area with practiced ease. He explained that his family had been coming to this region for winter recreation for generations. "You actually enjoy these conditions?" Dr. Vril asked, still shivering despite the cabin's warmth. "Absolutely," Hansen replied, stirring something in a pot that emitted a rich aroma. "Nothing better than skiing all day than coming back to a warm fire and hot food." The Federation visitors watched in fascination as Hansen served them beverages containing mild stimulants, coffee and hot chocolate, explaining that the warmth and chemicals helped humans maintain body temperature in cold environments. Throughout the evening, Hansen shared stories of human winter activities, building structures from snow, sliding down mountains on narrow boards, competitions to see who could travel fastest across ice. The Federation team listened with growing amazement at these recreational activities, conducted in conditions they considered severely hazardous. Dr. Nelson made extensive notes as Hansen spoke. Here was further evidence of humanity's extraordinary adaptation to their death world. Not only had they learned to survive in potentially lethal environments, but they had developed cultural practices that celebrated these conditions. When the storm finally subsided the next morning, Hansen insisted on guiding the team back to their outpost. As they trudged through the fresh snow, the sun breaking through clouds to create a dazzling landscape, Nelson watched their human guide pointing out features of the terrain with genuine enthusiasm. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Hansen said, gesturing at the snow-covered mountains. Nelson nodded inside her helmet, seeing the deadly terrain through new eyes. For the first time, she glimpsed how humans perceived their world not as a constant threat, but as a place of wonder and opportunity. It was perhaps the most remarkable adaptation of all. 1 year after the Horizon Seeker first discovered Earth, the relationship between humanity and the Galactic Federation had evolved dramatically. What began as cautious scientific curiosity had developed into a complex partnership that was reshaping the galactic community. In the Federation Council chamber on Harmonium, Ambassador Elizabeth Chen stood before representatives of 200 worlds. As Earth's official diplomat, she had spent months negotiating humanity's formal status within the Federation. "Distinguished representatives," Chen began, her voice calm and measured. "1 year ago, our worlds met for the first time. You discovered that humans had built a civilization on what you classify as a Class 15 death world. We learned that our home, which we simply call Earth, is considered the most dangerous inhabited planet in known space." The chamber was silent as she continued. "This year has been one of mutual discovery. Humans have learned that our physical adaptations are extraordinary by galactic standards. You have learned that humanity's resilience extends beyond our bodies to our minds and spirits. Together, we have begun to explore how our different evolutionary paths can complement each other." High Counselor Zara acknowledged Chen with a respectful gesture. "Humanity's integration into Federation activities has proceeded more rapidly than anyone anticipated. Your engineers have already revolutionized our approach to safety systems." This was true. Human engineers, accustomed to building for a world of constant threats, had introduced redundant systems and extreme safety margins that reflected their death world origins. Federation shipbuilders had initially resisted the wasteful designs until demonstrations proved their value during emergencies. Additionally, Zara continued, human soldiers now form elite units specializing in hostile environment operations that no other species could attempt. These special forces had already distinguished themselves during a mining disaster on Proxima 4, where human teams ventured into conditions considered unsurvivable to rescue trapped workers. The humans had emerged with survivors, singed and battered but fundamentally unharmed by conditions that would have killed any other Federation species. Commander Vorex, who had initially expressed concerns about humans, now spoke in their favor. "Our joint military exercise revealed capabilities we had not imagined. Human soldiers continued functioning despite injuries, environmental stresses, and sleep deprivation that would incapacitate our warriors. Their potential as allies in crisis situations cannot be overstated. More surprising was how Federation colonial policies had been completely revised due to human influence. Planets previously classified as uninhabitable were reconsidered as potential human colonies. Engineering firms throughout the Federation had begun hiring human consultants to improve their disaster response protocols. What we propose today, Chen said, is a formal alliance that recognizes humanity's unique contributions. We do not seek special status, but rather the opportunity to serve where our natural abilities can be most beneficial. The Council voted unanimously to approve the alliance. As the session concluded, Chen was approached by a group of corporate representatives, all eager to discuss new ventures with human partners. On the Horizon Seeker, now permanently assigned as Earth's liaison vessel, Commander Olivia Martinez reviewed reports with Federation Science Officer Trill. After a year of studying humans, Federation scientists still made new discoveries about human capabilities almost daily. The latest medical analysis confirms it, Trill said, her delicate fingers manipulating the holographic display. Human cellular regeneration exceeds anything in our database. Their ability to recover from injuries, adapt to toxins, and resist radiation has enormous potential for medical applications across the Federation. Martinez nodded, remembering the first time she'd witnessed a human recover from what she'd thought was a fatal injury. A construction accident on Space Station Delta had dropped a metal beam onto a human worker. The Federation medical team had pronounced the injuries catastrophic, only to watch in amazement as the human was walking again within weeks. What about the psychological studies? Martinez asked. Even more remarkable, Trill replied. Humans possess a mental resilience that matches their physical durability. They thrive under stress that would cause permanent trauma in other species. They actively seek out challenges and dangers as recreation. They respond to setbacks with increased determination. Martinez looked out the viewport at Earth, the beautiful blue-green Deathworld that had changed everything. Do you think they'll ever truly understand how exceptional they are by our standards? I'm not sure, Trill admitted. To them, their adaptations are simply normal. What's fascinating is their cognitive flexibility. They're better at understanding our perspective than we are at understanding theirs. On Earth, in a remote mountain region of a continent called Asia, a joint Federation human expedition was underway. Led by Dr. Catherine Nelson and human mountain climber Jason Powell, the team was studying human adaptation to extreme altitude. Oxygen levels here are insufficient for most sentient life, Nelson explained to her Federation colleagues. Yet humans not only climb these mountains, but some populations have lived at these elevations for thousands of years. Powell, checking his climbing gear, grinned at the Federation scientists in their environmental suits. The view from the summit is worth the thin air. You'll see. The expedition was one of dozens happening across Earth as Federation researchers sought to understand every aspect of humanity's Deathworld adaptations. Meanwhile, in Geneva, Federation Ambassador William Carter sat with United Nations Secretary General Adrian Brooks watching a live feed from the first human colony on a Federation world. Unlike previous Federation colonies, which began with years of environmental engineering, the human settlement started with minimal infrastructure. The colonists were already building permanent structures and establishing farms, treating the alien world as just another frontier to conquer. Your people continue to astonish us, Carter told Brooks. The colony is 3 months ahead of schedule. Brooks smiled. Humans have always been at our best when facing challenges. We've spent our entire history adapting to difficult conditions on Earth. Now we have a whole galaxy of new challenges to tackle. As evening fell over Geneva, Carter reflected on how profoundly the discovery of humanity had changed the Federation. Species that had evolved in comfortable, stable environments suddenly found themselves working alongside beings forged by constant danger. The humans brought not just physical capabilities, but a perspective the Federation had never encountered, a willingness to face the unknown with optimism rather than fear. When Secretary General Brooks invited Carter to join him for dinner at a local restaurant, the ambassador made a decision. After careful medical consultation, he would accept the invitation without his environmental suit. The first Federation citizen to experience Earth directly, protected only by preventative medications and minor genetic adjustments. It was a small step, symbolic rather than practical. Most Federation species would never adapt to Earth's conditions, but it represented the beginning of true understanding between two very different evolutionary paths. As Carter prepared for this historic dinner, he thought about Commander Martinez's first message to Federation Command 1 year ago. Everything is about to change. She had been right. The discovery of humans, these improbable beings who called a Class 15 Deathworld their home, had transformed the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. And this was just the beginning.